Welcome to today's episode. Today we will talk about practicing self-care by honoring the body and the soul. In the rush of daily life, self-care is often overlooked or seen as something optional, something to fit in only when everything else is done. Yet, taking care of ourselves is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of love. When we prioritize our well-being physically, mentally, and spiritually, we are not only honoring the life God has given us, but we are also preparing ourselves to serve Him and others more fully. A well cared for heart, body, and soul become a vessel of love, energy, and purpose for the people around us. Jesus Himself demonstrated the importance of self-care throughout the Gospels. We see Him taking time away from the crowd, retreating to quiet places to pray, and finding moments of stillness even in the midst of His demanding ministry. He also recognized and responded to the needs of others, feeding the hungry, healing the sick, and offering comfort to the weary. His example reminds us that caring for our well-being, both physical and spiritual, is not a distraction from our faith, but an integral part of life. If Christ, who was fully divine, made time for rest, renewal, and nourishment, how much more should we? A healthy spiritual life is not separate from our physical and emotional well-being. When we neglect our bodies, minds, or souls, we are not able to live out our purpose with the energy, clarity, and devotion that God calls us to. Prioritizing self-care means recognizing that our lives are gifts from God and that taking care of ourselves is a way of showing gratitude for that gift. But how do we do this in a way that remains centered on faith rather than self-indulgence? One of the most fundamental ways we can care for ourselves is by nourishing our bodies with good food. Eating well is not just about health, it is an expression of gratitude. When we prepare and consume our meals with intention, we recognize food as a gift from God that strengthens and sustains us. Instead of seeing eating as a routine task, we can turn it into a moment of reflection and thanksgiving, appreciating how God provides for us in even the simplest ways. Taking care to be mindful about what we eat and how we care for our physical health allows us to better fulfill our responsibilities and serve those around us. Rest is another essential aspect of self-care, yet it is often the one we neglect the most. In a world that glorifies business, rest can feel like a luxury or even a sign of weakness. But rest is not idleness, it is renewal. God created rest as an essential part of life. He Himself rested on the seventh day of creation, and He calls us to do the same. Whether it is getting enough sleep, taking a short break during a busy day, or setting aside time to simply be still, rest is necessary for our physical and spiritual well-being. When we allow ourselves to rest without guilt, we acknowledge that our worth is not based on how much we accomplish, but on the fact that we are beloved children of God. Movement is also another important part of honoring the body God has given us. Exercise does not have to be intense or rigorous. It can be as simple as stretching, walking, or even dancing in joy. Moving our bodies in a way of celebrating life, recognizing that we have been given ability to move, breathe, and experience the world around us. Engaging in physical activity not only benefits our health, but also helps us relieve stress, clear our minds, and find moments of joy in our daily routines. Beyond the physical, we must also make time for spiritual nourishment. Just as our bodies need food and rest, our souls need prayer, reflection, and time with God. Setting aside moments to pray, read the scripture, or simply sit in silence with the Lord allows us to stay connected to His presence in our lives. When we neglect our spiritual well-being, we may find ourselves feeling disconnected, restless, restless or overwhelmed. Spiritual self-care is not about creating space to listen to God, to seek His guidance, and to allow His peace to fill our hearts. Letting go of stress and surrendering our burdens to God is another crucial part of self-care. Life comes with worries, challenges, and anxieties, but we were never meant to carry these burdens alone. In Matthew chapter 11 verse 28, Jesus tells us, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." When we hold on to stress, we become weighed down. But when we release our worries to God, we find peace. Taking time to reflect on what is causing us stress and offering those concerns to the Lord in prayer allows us to experience true rest in His presence. Finally, self-care includes doing small things that brings us joy and peace. Whether that means reading a book, listening to music, taking a walk outside, or simply breathing deeply. These simple acts of care are not indulgences. They help us recharge and remain present to God's call in our lives. When we allow ourselves to find joy in the little things, cultivate a heart of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings that surround us. At its core, self-care is not about selfishness or indulgence. It is about being a good steward of the life God has given us. When we take care of ourselves, we become stronger, more focused, and more prepared to serve others with love and generosity. It is not about doing less, but about doing what truly matters with a full and open heart. So today, take a moment to reflect on this. In what ways do I neglect my own well-being, and how can I change that? How does taking care of myself help me grow closer to God? What is one small act of self-care I can commit to today and as a way of honoring God's gift of life? Whatever step you choose, know that by caring for yourself, you are also making space to love and serve God more fully. Thank you, and God bless you.